The Toronto Blue Jays are not a good ball club. That much is clear about at the midway point of the season. However, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. looks like his old self, his 2021 self, and ever since shaving his hair, he just looks like a completely different player. So we'll break down his importance for the future of the Toronto Blue Jays and much more in this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis. Welcome into 3 Up, 3 Down, presented by Baseball Town. Check out baseballtown.ca. But before we get into the video where we're going to be talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and give us your thoughts on the young first baseman's play this season. He's looked like his old vintage self, the vintage self that finished second in MVP voting in 2021 to Shohei Ohtani in the American League, and he's been on an absolute tear lately with the power, with everything. He's getting on base at an unbelievable clip. He's just smacking the ball out of the ballpark, and he finally seems to have turned the corner after being close, after hitting a lot of singles and a lot of hard contact. He has finally managed to tap into that power, so it's been great to see as a Blue Jay fan. However, the team is in a free fall. They're 8 games back of the wild card spot. They're 84 games into the season, so just over the halfway mark, and I don't see this turning itself around. Vladdy missed the game yesterday, and it was another lifeless showing by the offense against the Houston Astros, and the pitching just has to be perfect. They can't afford to make mistakes when the offense is rolling the way that it's rolling right now. So let's take a look at the past week or so that Vladdy has had. It's been very impressive. Let's look at those numbers. So these are the last 6 games for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 14 for 29. That's just under a 500 batting average. 5 home runs, 5 doubles, 19 RBIs in a 6-game span, and 34 total bases. Those are big-time numbers. Those are Aaron Judge level numbers, and maybe the only guy hotter than Vladdy right now in baseball is Aaron Judge. So it's been very fun to watch. It brings some joy to Blue Jay fans, I think, watching Vladdy go out there and just be dominant. We've been asking for this dominant version of Vladdy for a long time now, and I think he's finally here. He's arrived. I don't know what his next contract is going to look like. He's a free agent after next season. I assume it's going to be in the $200 million ballpark. I would tend to think that that's where we're headed right now if you're the Blue Jays front office. But the way that he's been playing lately, maybe he'll want to test the free agent market, and maybe he'll put together another unbelievable season in 2025, and he might price himself out of Toronto. He might be the hottest commodity on the free agent market, and that's entirely possible. Let's take a look here. Those were the numbers that you saw over there. This was his week, okay? So he won Player of the Week in the American League, 13 for 26, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs, and an OPS of 1.673. Those are unbelievable numbers that are not sustainable over the course of a full season. But Vladdy is on a tear right now, and I don't think we've seen a sequence like this from him since 2021. He's had hot stretches where he's had very high batting averages, but the power hasn't necessarily been there. But this is Vladdy at his absolute peak. When he's driving the ball out of the ballpark, doesn't matter where he's hitting it, it doesn't matter where you're pitching it, he's doing damage. So let's take a look at his home run from the other day against the New York Yankees and Nestor Cortes. Take a look at this. So that's just textbook Vladdy right there. And going to right center field. And earlier in the season, I believe that ball probably would have been a fly out, just ahead of the warning track. He's changed something around, and I don't know what it is. He's definitely made an adjustment alongside the hitting staff, and he's unlocked some of that power that we know he has. Nobody in the major leagues hits the ball harder than Vladimir Guerrero Jr., more consistently than Vladdy does. And obviously you can make a case for Aaron Judge. Maybe Judge is the only one that hits the ball harder than him more consistently. But take a look at this swing. That's just vintage Vladdy right there. Just a piss missile over the wall, and he's making pitchers pay when they make mistakes. That's been a big problem that he's had over the past couple of years, not being able to punish pitchers when they make mistakes over the heart of the plate. And Vladdy seems to have unlocked something. I would have to take a look at more game footage, study his at-bats a little bit more to see what he's doing differently now than what he did in the beginning of the season. And after his first month where he posted a 650 OPS, he's been really good ever since then. He's been around an 850, 950 OPS kind of guy for the remainder of the season. So it just shows you that, yeah, he's a very good hitter, just got off to a slow start. And we've seen his numbers fall and dip quite dramatically over the past couple of seasons. We thought in 2022, ooh, that's a really bad year considering how well he played in 2021 and the numbers, the gaudy numbers that he put up in that season. But then in 2023, even more of a fall off. The OPS was under 800 and it was 820 in 2022. So it's just been a constant decline for Vladdy, which is weird because he's 25 years old and he's been one of the more promising players in baseball for the majority of his career. He should not be declining. He should be getting better or just be at that level consistently. That's what Blue Jay fans came to expect of him, but he just hasn't reached those heights. And we're finally seeing him circle back to 2021 and just let it fly. He knows that he has to be the focal point of this offense. He knows that he has to carry them because he's just not getting any help from anyone else aside from Spencer Horwitz and maybe some contributions every now and then from George Springer in the past week or so. But for the majority of the season, the offense has been really bad for the Blue Jays, and Vladdy has been the guy to carry them over this 2-week stretch, and the offense has seen some growth. They've seen a lot better performances, but then when the offense steps it up, that's when the pitching starts to go to crap. And a lot of things are just not working in unison right now for the Blue Jays. But the one thing that I can confirm is that the Jays need to hang on to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They need to try to get an extension done this offseason because at this rate, he's going to price himself out of Toronto. And I know there's some mixed reviews about him. He's a lazy base runner. He's not the greatest defender at first base, but hey, he's a first baseman who is mashing right now. He's got the best numbers of any guy who plays there in the American League. And is he an elite top 5 player in the game? No. Can he get there? Maybe if he can keep up this kind of production. But as of right now, he's a top 20 player in the league, maybe top 15, depending on how you want to rate him. But he's up there. He's definitely up there, and he's the best talent that this Blue Jays team has in their offense. So they got to keep him around. I know that fans want to retool, and I'm in that same boat as well. I think the Jays need to retool and try to recoup some assets at this trade deadline because their farm system is no good, their major league team is no good, but the one thing that needs to remain is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because you're not going to get much better out there, and I know that we're hard on him. We expect a lot out of Vladdy on a yearly basis, on a nightly basis, we could even say, but some of the expectations are unfair, and maybe he's just not that kind of player. But the one that we're seeing, the version that we're seeing of Vladdy right now, I definitely think that's something that can keep itself up. And I believe he's a huge building block of the future of the Blue Jays. I don't think it's going to help them for this year, but if you fast forward 5 years from now, Vladdy's still going to be a really good player, and I just don't want to see him in another uniform unlock his true potential. But that'll wrap it up for this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Thank you guys so much for making it this far. I was your host, Peter Vryonis, and make sure to check out baseballtown.ca. This podcast would not be possible without them, so check out the website, get geared up for your softball season, baseball season. We got all the equipment you need, whether it's premium gloves, whether it's baseball bats, whether it's batting gloves, cleats, we got you covered. The largest baseball store in Canada. Check them out, baseballtown.ca. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for making it this far. And until I see you next, enjoy the baseball, folks.